All right, welcome back. Sports show, NFL draft going down here in Detroit. Go over everything in the draft, including the Atlanta Falcons. What the fuck's going on over there? But let's just jump right into it, man. NFL draft last night obviously went down. What were the biggest surprises you think you had with some of the stuff that went down last night?
Atlanta, definitely. That was just utterly just dumb. Yeah. I would say the Giants taking a receiver, but Valenti said he's like, the Giants are going to be stupid and take a receiver instead of a quarterback because Daniel Jones ain't no good.
Yeah, the Giants, that Giants pick, man, it really was. Are they going to help Daniel Jones? Or are they going to start a whole new regime as far as that quarterback position? I love Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, I did a video on him, I think, about a week or two ago. Explosive wide receiver from LSU. I think he was the first wide receiver off the board, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think he was. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. After Marvin Harrison. Yeah, after Marvin Harrison, yeah.
Yeah,
that
Marvin
was a confusing
Harrison.
one for the Giants. I think I would have started anew as well, especially had a couple quarterbacks still left on the board. Joe Alt had just gone before to the Chargers. But, yeah, Atlanta, what? That was the most surprising pick I think the last 10 years. You go out and sign Kirk Cousins. You have Bashan Robinson. You can either add another weapon. There was a wide receivers plenty available. Corners were available at that point. That's another thing, the draft. For this year, nobody seemed to really give a shit about defensive players, and there was a ton of them off the board. But, yeah, Atlanta makes absolutely no sense. You're picking up Michael Penix, like we had talked about before. A guy's pushing damn near 30 at this point for a draft pick. But I don't know what Atlanta was doing out there, taking Penix with that pick. Why go get Kirk Cousins at this point, then? Why are you going to get Kirk Cousins as much money as you spent on him? And it wasn't a long-term deal for Cousins. It's only 4 years. Penix might sit on the bench for 3 years of that duration. I mean, even if he's the heir apparent, I think it's a reach. It's not like we had mentioned before. It's not like Peyton Manning was on the board at that point. So I don't know what Atlanta was doing.
No, me either. The other, I don't want to say surprising one, I guess kind of surprising, just the way the Bears went about that draft. The Bears have been a disaster for the last few years, but getting Caleb and Odunze, that's a game changer for your organization. Yeah. That's a huge game changer.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because I wasn't high on Caleb Williams, but I don't think he's going to be a Bryce Young either. I don't think it's going to be that big of a disaster. And you look what they already did. They already have DJ Moore out there. They added Keenan Allen. You got DeAndre Swift. Last year, they helped the offensive line. They took Wright, and they got Braxton Jones. So you got something going there on the offensive side of the ball. You got two offensive linemen now on the left and right side that you've added. You've got DJ Moore, like I mentioned, and Keenan Allen. So, and then you add Odunze. I think Caleb Williams steps in pretty good situation right off the bat if he is going to be the starter, which I'm assuming he's going to start from day one.
He's got to because they traded away Justin Fields.
Right. Other big surprise here, I don't know what the hell Buffalo's doing. I don't understand this shit. You lose Gabe Davis. You lose Stephon Diggs. You're sitting there with a goddamn track star that you could pick and a whole slew of other receivers that were still available at that point in time. You decide to trade with your rival Kansas City, who says, thank you very damn much. Come in and swoop up a 4'2", 140 guy, Xavier Worthy from Texas, who fits in perfectly in that Kansas City offense. The way they're going to utilize him is just absolutely scary. I don't know what Buffalo's doing.
No, I don't think they do either. And I think their window's closed. They're done. I'm just going to say it. Their window is closed. I don't even think they're going to be above 500 this year. They've lost too much. They didn't replace it. The division's going to be better this year. I mean, the Patriots finally got their freaking quarterback in Drake May. So, if he is what they're saying he is, they're going to be better. New coach, all that stuff. But, yeah, Buffalo, man, and maybe McDaniels can make another 9/11 reference. Maybe that'll get him motivated.
Well, those are the big surprises for me right there. Were Buffalo and Atlanta. That I don't know what either one of those franchises are doing, especially Buffalo, actually. Out of the two of them, Buffalo's really the one to me that I think you still had a chance to be knocking at the doorstep to at least get a playoff victory. Josh Allen's got to be kicking himself. You added another second-round pick out of it, but still, I don't know what they're doing out there. You needed desperately help at wide receiver, and you give it to your rival. That's the other thing, too. You let Kansas City come in there, just pick this dude up. Watch them match up in the playoffs, and Worthy just busts one for 40 or 50 yards on their ass. But those are the biggest surprises for me in the draft. So we'll just go over here. Like we mentioned, Caleb Williams went number 1. Number 9, the Bears took Odunze. I mean, you got, like I said, you set up and all the quarterback failures that Chicago's had over the course of the last, 5 to 10 years. Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, I thought got an unfair shake, though. I think Justin Fields could have panned out. Why? If you think about it, too, if you would have kept Justin Fields and took a wide receiver and traded down, I think you would have been better off. I'd rather have Justin Fields than Caleb Williams, but point is rather moot at this point. Number 2. The Washington Commanders, grabbing Jaden Daniels, 6'3", 210. Looks like about 160 to me. I don't know where the hell the 210's coming from. Doesn't he look undersized to you? Like he's not going to be able to take the wear and tear of an NFL season?
I mean, at that size, yeah. I mean, when you get into the NFL as a... you wouldn't think so. But, like, even if...
There's no way.
Hey, we'll see. With the team he's on, he's going to definitely have to take a pound.
He's going to, too. He really is. 6'3", 210. I mean, when they flashed it across the screen for his weight and they said that he put on some pounds, I don't fucking believe it. I don't fucking think so. But I think Daniels, I don't see who he's going to have out there to get the ball to.
Me either.
Yeah, so we'll see. So Washington, like
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think they're the biggest train wreck organization in football right now.
Washington.
The Commanders.
Yeah.
Yep. I totally think that they're a disaster and they ain't gonna be no damn good.
I think Carolina is, but Washington, you could argue as well. Number 3, the Patriots.
I forgot about them.
Patriots at number 3, taking a traditional drop-back quarterback who has a little bit of whoop-whoop in him, too. Drake May with the 3rd pick. Mayo starting a new regime out there. I think best pocket quarterback in the draft with, like I said, a little bit of escapability. They need offensive line help. They need some wide receivers, too. So Drake May, I think, I don't know. I like him as far as his arm strength. Number 3, I just think these teams just get so enamored with quarterbacks and they panic. And I don't know, there's got to be somebody with a cool head in the room saying, hey, wait a minute here. Like, we're kind of fucking reaching. We're just going by position instead of fucking talent. But Drake May goes number 3 to New England. Number 4, who I think is going to be the best player in the draft if we look back on this 3 to 4 or 5 years. I know a lot of people were high on Neighbors, and I love Neighbors too. Like I said, I did a video on Malik Neighbors. I love Malik Neighbors, but Marvin Harrison to me is going to be the best player in this draft. But number 4, Arizona picks up Marvin Harrison. They added Paris Johnson last year with the 6th pick, so back-to-back Ohio State Buckeyes for Arizona. How do you think Marvin Harrison's going to play out in there? Because when you watch him, he is almost a clone to me of Larry Fitzgerald. The way the body control is, they don't have blazing speed, but just great size, route running. Do you think he's in a good spot out there in Arizona with Kyle Murray?
I was actually going to say, I was going to kind of give the Cardinals props. I think they had a good draft, but I think their biggest problem is Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't give a shit. He just doesn't. He's not invested in football. So that's your big problem right now. Like, he doesn't care enough to make a difference, but they still had a good draft. So, you're going to have mixed results with that.
I like what they did as far as just picking the best player available. I don't think they're 100% sold on Kyle Murray themselves, but I think if they look at the quarterbacks that were available and then they seen Marvin Harrison, you might as well grab the best player available. And then next year, because you're probably going to tank this year, go grab your quarterback next year, because Marvin Harrison, like I said, to me, is going to be the best player, I think, when we look back on this draft. All right, number 5, Joe Alt to the Chargers. This one makes perfect sense, too. Jim Harbaugh loves those big busty offensive linemen for Jim Harbaugh.
That's what I hear.
Yeah,
I mean, like, when I saw him pop up, I was like, yeah, that's a fucking Harbaugh guy. Like, that's literally
Right.
Did you see the photo of the dude, like, as he's getting up?
Yeah.
When they announced him, and everybody in the room looks like they're a child. The dude's massive.
Yeah. Yeah, 6'7", 6'8" from Notre Dame. Joe Alt, offensive lineman. Hey, that's like I mentioned. That's a Jim Harbaugh pick for sure. You already got Justin Herbert out there. You added, if you just look at the offensive line that they've put together, you already have Slater out there, and now you add another end with Joe Alt. So good stuff going out there with the Chargers. I'm just going to call them the Chargers because if I call them San Diego or L.A. instead of L.A., it's going to end up pissing me off. I can't get San Diego out of my head every time I say the Chargers. It's still
they belong in San Diego.
Yeah, still doesn't resonate to me. Number 6, we already touched on a little bit. The Giants coming into that pick. You didn't know if they were going to go quarterback or try to give Daniel Jones some help. They did get him some help. Gave him some Malik Neighbors. LSU pumps out so many wide receivers, man. But Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas, Neighbors, Justin Jefferson. Just a clinic that they have going out there at the wide receiver position. Number 7, Tennessee, taking an offensive lineman, monster run blocker that they picked up out there. Lathan, number 8, Atlanta. Touched on that a little bit. Michael Penix going number 8 to Atlanta because, that makes a lot of sense. Bears coming back in here at number 9. Odunze, I like the pick as well. I think we touched on that again a little bit here. I like the pick with Odunze. Said you match him in there with Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, and they already got more out there. Number 10, how about these guys? The Vikings, JJ McCarthy.
Good luck with that.
Going to Minnesota. Do you think he's going to turn out to be another Zach Wilson?
Yeah, I totally do.
Reminds me a lot of it, don't it?
I mean,
even their body type.
It does.
Yeah.
In I'm just going to say it, his arrogance, because he comes off as very arrogant in his press conferences.
You see this cup?
And he didn't
see this cup. If he didn't play, I would have.
Be
holding this cup.
This is fair, but I mean, you're a Michigan fan, so you know Michigan was a very much a run first team. They had 2 of the best running backs in the country on that team. He didn't have to do that much. Like if you compare stats, some Michigan fan was talking shit on some of State's other quarterbacks. I compared like Cousins and Connor Cook stats to him, and
here's a flash from the.
It's just Connor Cook had better seasons than JJ McCarthy, so that tells you how little he actually did throw the ball. Yeah. So McCarthy, I think that's going to be a mess.
He's one of the biggest mysteries I think in the draft the last 10 years. As far as just you don't know what you're going to get with them.
Yep.
I think he's got the talent. I would be interested to see the most passes he's ever thrown in a game for McCarthy. And I've seen every game in his career in the top of my head. I really can't think right now, but I think McCarthy's going to be either hit or miss. I don't think he's going to be, a game manager or anything like that. I think he's either going to completely tank like Zach Wilson or he's going to be a star. I really do. He's in a good situation with Justin Jefferson out there, but he sure as hell is not going to be starting from day one. Maybe 4 to 6 games into the season if they want to bring him in, maybe something like that. But I think he sits a year on the bench, and then the following year you put him in there and see what you got. So we'll see how that works out. But like I said, J.J. McCarthy, he really kind of flew up the draft boards within the last month. So we'll see what works out there. Number 11, the Jets take an offensive lineman. Aaron Rodgers coming back this year. We'll see how that kind of unfolds out there for the Jets. Number 12, Denver.
Shit show.
Yeah, Denver. I don't know what they're doing here. Bo Nix with the 12th pick. I was really shocked that Denver didn't try to move up in the draft. I think they panicked. They couldn't grab a quarterback that they wanted with that 12th pick, so they just took Bo Nix, and I don't know if that's the pick right there. I understand it. I mean, you don't want to be tanking every year when you got a head coach like Sean Payton, who didn't go there to rebuild. He went there to get in the playoffs every year. I think they reached, though, for Bo Nix. Just one of those teams that felt they had to grab something. I would have moved up if I was Denver. And plus you lost Jerry Jeudy. Not that Jerry Jeudy was any kind of playmaker, but he at least was a wide receiver that they had on that roster. I mean, a wideout would have made more sense to me for Denver. But number 13.
Don't forget, he's also old, too. Bo Nix is old. Is as old as Penix.
Yeah, I remember him in Auburn. God, he's like, what, 25? Some shit like that.
Yep.
The Raiders. I really think the Raiders would have took Michael Penix if it wasn't for the Falcons reaching up and grabbing him. Still end up with a good player, though, man. Brock Bowers. I think Bowers is another guy that you could look back and probably say is going to be one of the top players in this draft. So I think it worked out well for the Raiders, though, because I would rather hit Brock Bowers, in my opinion, than Penix anyways. Number 14, New Orleans takes offensive lineman. We'll just skip over them. Latou, the defensive end for UCLA, had a lot of neck injuries. Colts with a good value pick here at 15. Number 16, Brian Murphy, D tackle, absolute monster for Seattle. Scoop him up there, help on that defensive line. They already got Derek Hall. You got Tariq Woolen. You got Witherspoon. Seattle's going to have a really nice defense in the next few years here. Number 17, Dallas Turner really fell down the draft boards. Goes to Minnesota at 17 with the trade with Jacksonville. Number 18, Cincy gets some more offensive line help. It seems like they've been trying to put that offensive line together for at least 3 or 4 years now. Big mauling offensive tackle out there. They pick up in Cincinnati. Number 19, the Rams. You know the Rams haven't had a first-round pick since 2016.
Yeah, it was Jared Goff.
Fucking crazy, man. 8 fucking years you haven't had a first-round pick?
But
the fuck is going on
They
here?
had a Super Bowl out of it, though. So
Yeah, worth it. Picked up Jared Verse, who had a lot of hype. I remember coming into the draft here, and then even in college when he's out there at Florida State. Number 20, Pittsburgh. Typical Pittsburgh pick here. Guard from Washington that they pick up. 21, Chop Robinson, who I thought might have been a Lions pick. Goes to Miami. Much needed help on that defensive line for the Miami Dolphins. 22, Quinyon Mitchell. Could argue might be one of the best corners in the draft. Goes to number 22 to Philly. Perfect fit right there for Philly, I think. Physical corner from Toledo. 23, Jacksonville, Brian Thomas. Is this a make or break season here for Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's in, what's he going to, is this year 4 for him now?
Yeah, you're 3 or 4, yeah.
Like, you got to make or break at some point. You know, they've put a lot of weapons around him, and we'll see what he does this year. I'm still high on him. I like him. I think he's a good talent, but he's got to put it together.
Yeah, and I love this pick. Brian Thomas, man. Size, speed, 6'3", 6'4". You said another wide receiver from LSU. You pretty much can't go wrong with any receiver from that LSU machine for the wide receivers. 24, Motor City Kitties trading up with them boys. Lions trade up. Pick up arguably, and if you looked at a lot of the publications, I'm talking Athlon and Street and Smith, and even the websites, a lot of guys had Terrion Arnold as being one of the best corners in the draft, if not the best corner. Love the pick. I really thought they were going to go defensive end, defensive lineman at that point, but I think they're going best player available, and God, did he fall in their lap. With all the offensive players coming off the board, I love the pick. Yeah.
The second that they traded up, I was actually driving home from work, and I was listening to 97.1's little thing, and everyone on there knew exactly who they were taking. Valenti, Stone, Costa, they all knew they're taking Terrion Arnold. You know, they needed a corner after they lost Sutton to the jail squad, so they filled the need and they got what they needed.
Yeah, I love the pick, man. Absolutely love it. So Lions pick up. I think, he's one of these guys. You're going to put him right away. Dude, Arnold honestly should have been a top 10 pick, top 10 to 15. You could argue just the way the offensive players are going off the board. Didn't have a defensive player come off to, I think, the 15th pick in the draft. Worked out very well for the Lions. Green Bay takes an offensive tackle. Jordan Morgan, 26. Graham Barton, who I think is going to be a great pro. Very versatile offensive tackle from Duke. He can play center. He can play guard. He can play tackle. Good pickup for Tampa Bay, as we all know, all the injuries that the offensive line has during the course of a year. Good pick right there for Tampa Bay. 27, Darius Robinson, who I thought the Lions were actually going to take if they would have stayed pat at 29. He does not look 300 pounds, too, by the way. 6'5". They got him at 296.
That dude's jacked.
Looks a solid 300 fucking pounds. D tackle, defensive end. think his height might be a little bit of a disadvantage if he's playing D-tackle. Won't get as much of a push, but line him up on the edge. Good pick out there for Arizona. 28. Now, this is where it got kind of nutty here. Buffalo, trading with Kansas City, need wide receiver help. Instead, you give Xavier Worthy, who ran a 4.21 40 at Texas. You just basically hand him over to the Kansas City Chiefs, who add another weapon, another playmaker. Imagine him on some end-arounds, some kickoff punt returns. The guy's going to be absolutely used to his full ability by Andy Reid out there in Kansas City. 29, Dallas picks up an offensive lineman from Oklahoma. 30, Nate Wiggins, very physical corner. The Baltimore, another one of those perfect fits that fix the scheme. 31, kind of a reach, I think, San Francisco taking a wide receiver. In Carolina, adding the wide receiver from South Carolina. That is your draft, but I do have a couple questions I want to ask your ass.
Okay.
3 years from now, who do you think is going to be the top 3 to 4 players that came out of this draft?
3 years, you said? I'm going to put Marvin Harrison Jr. at the top of that. Then I'm going to put Brock Bowers second.
Yep.
And I'm going to put Terrion Arnold third. I think Terrion Arnold's going to be a game changer in the NFL. I think he's going to be a lockdown corner. I don't have faith in these quarterbacks in this draft. There's just something about them. There's just something in my head. I'm just like, these guys are not going to be that great. I don't look at them and think that they're going to be the best in the league in 3 years.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think the only thing I'd switch out with you, I got Joe Alt up here. I think he's gonna be a solid.
Yeah, Joe Alt.
But yeah, you can't argue Arnold as well. Yeah, I agree with you with the quarterback. So, and the NFL's never gonna learn.
Especially Caleb.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna learn the lesson, man. They out of all of them, I would probably say Drake May, but he's not in a good situation out there in New England. But yeah,
No.
Daniels, May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy. I don't see any of them, and Penix, really being anything special. I think these teams panic, like we mentioned. They just see in the position instead of the name and going best player available. The draft couldn't work out any more perfect from the Detroit Lions. As far as all the offensive guys flying off the board here. Another one, too, I think to keep an eye on, and we had talked about him a little bit briefly here, who I thought he was going to go to the Lions if they would have stayed at that 29th pick, was Darius Robinson from Arizona. Just the guy, like we said, is just absolutely jacked from Missouri. I think he's a sleeper that a couple years from down the road, he's probably going to put some big numbers out there for their damn Cardinals. Fun draft, though. It was a fun draft. I think it kind of went what everybody thought it was. Maybe the first, probably 6, 7 picks. As soon as Atlanta went Penix, all hell broke loose for the draft. Tomorrow, or today, actually it's today, right? Second round. Going to be going down today.
Yep.
I don't think any more quarterbacks are going to go in the second round. I'm going to look at it right now, but there's really nobody left just looking at it that I think is going to go in that second round. I mean, the fuck are you going to take? Joe Milton? Spencer Rattler? So I think tomorrow is going to be just loaded with defensive players and offensive linemen. Still a couple good wide receivers available. When do you think we'll see a running back come off the board?
I'm looking at the mock draft right now, and they're saying at pick 66 in the... Well, actually, hold on. That's the second round. I was looking at the second and switching over to third. Yeah, they don't have a running back going for quite a while. My goodness.
Yeah.
I think the third round is... pick 47, they're saying. The Giants. Yeah, that'd be crazy because look at what we've had the past couple of years with the first round picks of running backs, and nobody took one this year. People have learned the lesson.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a superstar running back. Everybody likes Jonathan Brooks, Corum. I really like Braylon Allen from Wisconsin, 6'2", 245, fucking monster. Ray Davis, I like too, from Kentucky. I really like watching a lot of those Kentucky games, but that's really it. There's really not a playmaking running back that we've had maybe the last 5 years with Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor. I'm trying to think of a couple other guys here at the top of my fucking head. But yeah, I think we're looking at round 3 for a quarterback is just fucking crazy. I think they still have a value, but it's just got to be one. It's got to be the special guy, though. I think you maybe have a running back once every 2 or 3 years, like a Saquon, that could come in, and Bijan Robinson too. But Bijan Robinson's not getting utilized in Atlanta. That franchise has so many fucking goddamn problems. That's
Agreed.
that, though. I don't really think there's anything else I really wanted to go over.
Cool. So the mock draft that I'm looking at is just from NFL.com. They're saying the Steelers are going to go after Keon Coleman with pick 51. I would be fucking ecstatic with that pick. That dude's a fucking monster, and he's exactly what the Steelers want in a wide receiver: big-bodied, tough, and doesn't take any shit. That's a Steelers pick right there. I hope he's there. I'd love to see him.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Who's the quarterback out there? Going to be Russell Wilson, or is it going to be Justin Fields?
I think Russ is going to be the starter for the first couple of weeks, and then I think he's probably going to suck, and then you're going to see Justin Fields, and I think Justin Fields is going to be an absolute monster in that system, and I think the Steelers are going to be pretty good with him. I really do. I think Fields is a great talent.
Yeah, I do too, and I don't know what Chicago had up their ass to run him out of town. As much as he put his body on the line for that fucking team, you get him a good, solid offensive line like Pittsburgh has. I think he'll do some pretty good things out there. Like you said, though, I do think he's going to be at some point the starter this season, whether it's an injury for Russell Wilson or just bad play from Russell Wilson out there. I think Justin Fields will probably be your quarterback, hopefully for his sake, towards the end of the year. But that's it for the NFL draft here. First round. But all right.
The year's just gone by like nothing.
Yeah.
No, second round's going to be interesting. I think interesting to see what the Lions do in the second.
Okay, thank you very much, Nick Saban in Alabama once again.
Dude, can I just say, shout out Nick Saban. He was fucking fantastic on television last night.
He was.
He made all of those guys look like fucking idiots.
Yeah, I watched the College Game Day one too, leading up to the coverage at ESPN before the main one came on. He was fucking great out there, Nick Saban. Fucking great. It's better than watching Cam Newton on the fucking red carpet interviewing you, which is what NFL Network had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, man. Saban, I think, is going to be awesome during College Game Day. And he's so in tune with these guys, obviously recruiting them and everybody who was in the draft. He's not – I think it'd be another 10 years before he's far removed from the game that we know now. But, yeah, I thought Saban was great last night, breaking down all the players. Did you see him and Brian Kelly?
I missed that one.
Yeah, they brought Brian Kelly out, talking about Brian Thomas and Neighbors, the two wideouts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the banter, and Jane Daniels too, but the banter between him and Saban was pretty good stuff. I want to see Belichick. Belichick was with McAfee, right?
Yeah, McAfee.
Yeah, I didn't catch any of that. I might have to go back on here.
I missed it too.
Yeah, check that out because his dry humor, just no personality, actually. I think gives him a personality in a weird fucking way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's nobody like him. Just I'll have to check that out and see how he was during the draft. Cause I'm pretty sure they had him on there. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But.
Yeah, they did.
All right, that's it. 2024 NFL Draft second round going down later today. See ya.